Xiaomi has not been a brand that you would normally associate with a strong photography game. However, the Mi A1 sort of showed that they wanted to change that, and the Redmi Note 5 Pro literally rewrote the rules of mid-range smartphone cameras. Now the OPPO F7 also claims to do some of the same stuff and also claims to pack in a good rear camera and not just a focus on the front camera like some other OPPO devices. This is Sandeep from RevAtlas. Let's compare both the phones and see which one you should pick. Let's start with the Note 5 Pro, which is the oldest smartphone amongst the two. It features a dual camera system at the back with a 12MP f2.2 1.25 micron primary sensor as well as a secondary 5MP depth sensor with f2 aperture and 1.12 micron pixel size. The F7 on the other hand has a single 16MP f1.8 camera, which isn't bad at all because even a single lens can create better results than two or more lenses as the Pixel series has shown us. However, the optimization needs to be that good. Coming to the image quality, the sharpness is more apparent on the OPPO F7, which holds on to detail pretty well and also requires a lower ISO due to the brighter lens. The file sizes are also larger on the F7 due to the more detailed shots. The Note 5 Pro sensor has a better default dynamic range, while the F7 has a tendency to blow out the highlights. However, the F7 has a saving grace, which is the sensor HDR that occurs in real time. The Note 5 Pro and F7 both have pretty aggressive HDR algorithms that create vivid images with a lot of information recovered from the shadows and highlights. However, the Note 5 Pro still seems to have the issue of underexposing the shots in HDR mode. Colors are more muted on the Note 5 Pro, but the OPPO F7 produces quite saturated images and there's even a super vivid mode in case you want to take things a step further. White balance is more accurate on the 5 Pro while the F7 has a tendency to create yellowish looking images. Under low light, the Note 5 Pro images are flatter but have less noise compared to the more contrasty but noisier photos produced by the OPPO F7. Coming to a portrait mode, the F7 makes use of a single camera while the Note 5 Pro has a secondary depth sensor as well. The F7 has good bokeh by default, and even without the portrait mode, the shots have a shallow depth of field if you are close enough to the subject. However, it doesn't do anything much if you enable the portrait mode. The difference is so negligible or non-existent that it sometimes becomes tough to distinguish and identify which one is the portrait mode enabled one and which isn't. The Note 5 Pro, however, makes a clearly different picture that has a shallower depth of field and blur effect applied to it. The front-facing camera on the Note 5 Pro is a 20MP f2.2 camera with 1 micron pixel size, while the F7 has a 25MP f2 camera. As you could probably tell by the specifications itself, the F7 does actually capture more information and sharpness as well as detailing is higher. The Note 5 Pro is pretty good but not as good. The F7 images are also a bit more contrasty as compared to the Note 5 Pro, which looks flatter. Coming to the portrait mode, the blurring algorithm, they are pretty much neck and neck, but I would give the F7 the slight advantage due to the fact that it manages to retain more details on the point in focus compared to the 5 Pro, which loses out a bit on the sharpness. The difference between the two is negligible but still tangible. The F7 also has the added advantage that it supports portrait mode with HDR on, while the HDR is automatically turned off when you switch on the front camera portrait mode on the 5 Pro. Video recording maxes out at 1080p on both the front and rear facing cameras on both the devices. However, only the Note 5 Pro has EIS on the rear camera footage, and that creates a big difference in stability of videos. Stability aside, the footage shot by the 5 Pro has better sharpness, details, dynamic range as well as bitrate. The F7 also seems to have some focus hunting issues. The front-facing camera videos are quite a bit similar on both, and it's tough to pick a clear winner, although the F7 does a better job when it comes to the audio since the Note 5 Pro captures a lot of the background noise while the F7 suppresses that and focuses on your voice. So this is the front-facing camera of the Redmi Note 5 Pro capturing full HD video. Let me know what you guys think about the overall image quality, the sharpness, the dynamic range, how well it's picking up my voice, and even how well it's doing in terms of stabilization, considering that there's no EIS, but how well it is still doing. So this is the front-facing camera of the OPPO F7 capturing 1080p video. Let me know what you guys think about the overall video quality, the sharpness, the dynamic range, and how well it's even picking up my voice and even the overall stabilization, even without EIS. The conclusion is a bit of a confusing one. It seems like the OPPO F7 has a better front camera, regular portrait, and the rear camera seems to be pretty great in well-lit situations with more detail and sharpness as well as good dynamic range. However, videos are still better on the 5 Pro, which also has a better low-light performance and a better rear portrait mode. The choice isn't simple, but prioritizing which features are more important to you will help you pick the right smartphone for you. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next one.